Welcome to video 3 in the Pump Up the Protein series. I'm Jenny Tonin, your host, and today we're tying this all together. We're going to talk about different sources of protein and how to apply all of this to your life in a way that works. So we have talked a lot about protein, obviously, over the last few days. Just to recap some of the highlights, we've discussed how protein is very energizing. It helps keep your blood sugar nice and steady, and it helps you to build muscle and burn fat. It also helps to keep cravings at bay and your hunger in check without having to depend on willpower and discipline. It also supports healthy hormones, and protein is the building blocks for everything that becomes you. So it is responsible for creating all the tissues and everything else that your body needs. It's essential to get that protein through your diet. Your body cannot make protein on its own. And now, with all that talk about protein, we need to discuss different sources of protein. How are we getting this protein into our diet? And what are the best forms? I mean, there's that myth that, protein only matters to bodybuilders and they would only eat things like egg whites and chicken breast. And that's really far from the truth. Anybody that's concerned with their health, with being a healthy weight, having energy, having balanced hormones, needs to take protein into consideration. And we've talked about how aiming for about 1 gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight, which is about 2 grams of protein per ideal kilogram of body weight, is a great target for most healthy individuals. But how are we going to get that protein? What foods are we going to choose? Well, there's a few things that I really want you to understand and consider when it comes to answering this question. So the first thing is understanding about the bioavailability of different sources of protein. But what the heck does that mean? The higher the bioavailability of a particular type of food, the easier it is for your body to utilize it. That's the most basic explanation. And when it comes to protein, there are plant-based forms and there are animal-based forms. And I am not here to tell you that one of these extremes is better than the other. What you choose to do when it comes to whether or not you eat animal sources of protein or not, well, that's a personal choice. And there's certainly pros and cons and arguments to be made on either side of the table when it comes to discussing that. However, in my perspective, solely from a nutrition and wellness viewpoint, is that ideally most people, we want to get a nice variety of plant and animal sources of protein into our diet each and every day. Now, animal sources of protein, well, they are higher in this bioavailability that I've been talking about versus the plant sources. Plant sources, you see, your body has to take a couple of extra steps in order to take that food, break it down into the proteins, and then convert it to the forms your body can use. And with animal sources of protein, your body doesn't have to do that to the same degree. So depending on things like your age, your stress, your weight, your digestive health, and lots of other things, well, that's going to determine how efficient you are at breaking down plant sources of protein and being able to use them in your body. And there's nobody that can tell you specifically how well you as an individual do that. Probably it's safe to assume the healthier you are, the better you're going to do that. But estimates are as high as 30% more protein is required for people that depend exclusively or mostly on plant-based forms of protein. So that 1 gram per ideal pound of body weight, well, that can go, like I said, up to 30% higher in order to ensure that you're actually able to utilize all of that protein. In addition, the consideration of incomplete versus complete forms of protein needs to be talked about. So again, plant-based forms of protein tend to be considered incomplete, while animal-based forms of protein tend to be complete. Now, there are exceptions on both sides. No one way is going to be exclusively complete or incomplete. However, without going into all of the biology and chemistry lessons behind it, Protein basically is comprised of different amino acids. There are essential amino acids that your body requires that, again, through the diet, it has to get, it cannot make those. And plant-based forms of protein tend to be incomplete, meaning not one plant usually has all of these essential amino acids. So you have to mix and match your sources of protein. This takes extra thought and consideration and understanding of your food sources in order to ensure you don't have deficiencies. Now, generally speaking, if you're getting protein from animal sources, they tend to be complete and you don't have to worry about this. However, plants have lots of great benefits for us. Animal products can have lots of great benefits for us. So for the majority of people, my recommendation from a nutritional and wellness perspective exclusively is that you get a nice wide variety of sources of protein from both the plant sources and the animal sources. So on the plant source side, we have all kinds of things. There are protein powders made of different things like hemp, pea protein, rice protein, and so on and so forth. But there's also things like quinoa and different sprouted grains. There are things like tempeh and tofu and edamame. Different nuts and seeds have protein, and there's a lot of options out there on the plant-based side. Animal-based, well, it's more obvious and straightforward, right? Eggs, poultry products like chicken, turkey, and duck. There's ruminant animals like cattle and sheep or lamb and bison. There's also dairy products, pork products. There's a lot. So what I'm recommending for most of us is that we get a nice diverse selection of protein sources from different animal sources and different plant sources, and we don't just have a really narrow diet. That way we can ensure that we are getting all of the benefits and not creating any deficiencies in our body. Now, when it comes to tying all of this together and learning how to apply it in your life, the first thing that I really encourage you to do is take notes from lesson 2 and work on tracking how much protein you're getting in your day, and then do that for about 2 or 3 days. Figure out ballpark what you're getting, and then look at increasing your protein by making healthy swaps, swapping out things like toast or cereal or a granola bar for a high protein choice, and aiming for that 1 gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight for several days, and look and see how that feels to you. Do you feel more satisfied? Are you less likely to have cravings? Is your energy more steady throughout the day? Take note of how you feel and how this is impacting you. Protein is just one of the many ways that as women in midlife, we can support our metabolism, encourage better hormonal balance, and have more energy. But it's a very important one. It's one of the foundational building blocks that, in my perspective, is absolutely necessary to create true health in our midlife and beyond. I hope so much that this video has helped you understand why protein matters, how it can help you achieve lasting, sustainable, healthy weight loss and then weight management, as well as supporting healthy hormonal balance, better energy, and better overall health as you go through midlife and beyond. And keep your eyes out for more videos where I continue to share this type of information. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and I will do my best to answer them. I'll see you next time.